I forced my child to choose between college and supporting my new partner. I never thought I'd be the villain in my own child's story. But here I am, blocked on every platform, uninvited from graduations I helped pay for through childhood, treated like a stranger by the person I raised. Everyone says I abandoned Cameron. He say I chose a partner over my child. He say I'm selfish, cruel, unforgivable. But he don't understand what it's like to finally find happiness after years of suffering. He don't understand sacrifice. He don't understand that sometimes love means making the hard choices, the unpopular ones. He don't understand that I was teaching Cameron the most important lesson of all: family comes first. Let me tell you what really happened. The divorce from Richard was finalized in Cameron's junior year of high school. 17 years of marriage dissolved on a Tuesday afternoon in a courthouse that smelled like burnt coffee and disappointment. Richard got the house, the one we'd bought together, where I'd planted roses that finally bloomed after 5 years of careful tending. He got the retirement accounts, most of them anyway, because his lawyer was sharper than mine. I got enough to start over, he said, enough to be independent. I moved into a 2-bedroom apartment on the east side of town, the kind with industrial carpeting and fluorescent lights that made everyone look sick. Cameron came with me. He had 1 more year of high school, and despite everything, despite the arguments and the tears and Richard's new girlfriend moving into our house 3 months after the divorce, Cameron stayed focused. He studied. He joined clubs. He applied to colleges with a determination that should have made me proud. And it did make me proud, of course it did. But it also made me tired. Tired of being second place. Tired of being the parent who sacrificed and struggled while Cameron dreamed of universities I could barely afford. Tired of eating frozen dinners while I calculated how I'd manage tuition, room and board, textbooks, meal plans. Richard had agreed to contribute during the divorce, but his contributions came with conditions, with phone calls where he'd ask if Cameron was really trying, or if this was really worth it. I was tired of everything being about Cameron's future, while my present crumbled around me. That's when I met Jordan. Jordan worked at the coffee shop near my apartment, the one I started going to every morning because it was the only place that felt warm in my new, empty life. Jordan had this smile that made you feel like you were the only person in the room. He'd remember my order, medium latte, extra hot, no foam, and he'd ask about my day like he actually cared. In a life where I'd become invisible, Jordan saw me. We started talking, just talking at first. Jordan told me about his life, about the bad luck that seemed to follow them like a shadow, the business that failed despite his best efforts, the family that had turned his back on them, the apartment he'd lost, the couch surfing, the exhaustion of trying to rebuild from nothing. I understood that exhaustion. I lived it every day. When Jordan and I started dating 6 months before Cameron's high school graduation, it felt like life was finally giving me something back. Something for me, not for Richard, not for Cameron, but for me. Jordan was funny and attentive and grateful for everything I did. When I cooked dinner, he acted like I was a chef. When I talked about my day, he listened like every word mattered. Jordan made me feel valued again. By the time Cameron's college acceptance letters started arriving, Jordan had moved into my apartment. We were between places again, another bad roommate situation, another setback that wasn't his fault. I told myself it was temporary. I told myself I was just helping someone I cared about get back on his feet. I told myself a lot of things that spring. Cameron got into state university with a partial scholarship. Not a full ride, but enough that it seemed manageable. He was so excited, bouncing around our cramped apartment with the acceptance letter, talking about dorms and majors and finally getting to study what he loved. Biology, maybe, or environmental science. He wanted to do something meaningful, he said. I looked at the financial aid letter and felt my chest tighten. Even with the scholarship, even with Richard's promised contribution, there would be gaps. Thousands of dollars in gaps. Student loans, maybe, but also out-of-pocket expenses. And Cameron would need a computer and new clothes, and money for food because the meal plan never covered everything. That night after Cameron went to bed, Jordan and I sat at the kitchen table and looked at my budget. Really looked at it. You can't afford this, Jordan said softly, his hand covering mine. I have to find a way, I said. I promised Cameron. But what about us, Jordan asked. What about our future? Our future, the words hung in the air between us. Jordan had been looking for work for months, applying everywhere but nothing stuck. The economy was bad, he said. His resume had gaps that employers held against them. He needed training, certification, maybe a course or two to make themselves more competitive. He needed money. I needed Cameron to understand that he weren't the only person who mattered anymore. I approached Cameron 2 weeks before graduation. He were in his room, surrounded by college brochures and scholarship applications, trying to squeeze every last dollar out of his future. We need to talk about college, I said. Cameron looked up smiling. He thought I was going to tell them we'd figured it out, that he could go without worry. I saw that hope in his eyes and part of me wanted to protect it. But a larger part of me, the part that was tired and angry and done with always coming last, pushed forward. I can't pay for all of it, I said, and your father's contribution isn't enough. I know, Cameron said, that's why I'm applying for more scholarships, and I can work part-time once I'm there. That's not going to be enough either, I said. We need to consider other options. Cameron's smile faded. What do you mean? I took a breath. Jordan and I have been talking. He's in a tough spot right now and he need help getting back on his feet. If he could just take a course or two, get some certifications, he'd be able to find good work. But that costs money. Cameron stared at me. So I think you should consider taking a gap year. Or maybe going to community college for the first 2 years. Something more affordable so the family resources can be distributed more fairly. The silence that followed felt like falling. Distributed more fairly, Cameron repeated slowly. Jordan isn't family, Jordan is your boyfriend you met less than a year ago. Partner, I corrected. And yes, you're family. When you love someone, when you commit to them, he become family. And if I'm your child, Cameron said, his voice rising. Your actual child. You told me you'd help me with college. You and Dad both said education was important. Education is important, I agreed. But so is loyalty, so is putting family first instead of chasing selfish ambitions. I regretted the words as soon as he left my mouth, but I couldn't take them back. He hung between us like poison. Selfish ambitions, Cameron whispered. Going to college is a selfish ambition. You're 18 years old, you have your whole life ahead of you. 1 year, 2 years, it won't matter in the long run, but for Jordan this could be life-changing. He've had so many setbacks, so much bad luck. He just need one person to believe in them. And I need my mother to believe in me, Cameron said. He were crying now, angry tears that made his face red and blotchy. I worked so hard, I did everything right. I got good grades, I applied for scholarships, I did everything you and Dad asked. And now you're telling me to give it up for someone you barely know. I know Jordan, I said firmly. And I know that family takes care of each other. That's what I'm teaching you, Cameron. In the real world you don't always get what you want when you want it. Sometimes you have to sacrifice for the people you love. Then why aren't you sacrificing for me? Cameron asked. I didn't have an answer for that. Or maybe I did, but it wasn't one he wanted to hear. The truth was that I'd been sacrificing for Cameron his entire life. 18 years of putting them first, of PTA meetings and school projects and birthday parties, and driving to practices and making sure he had everything he needed. 18 years of being mom before being anything else. I wanted to be something else now. I wanted to be Jordan's partner. I wanted someone to take care of me for a change. Here's what's going to happen, I said, making my voice firm, parental. The voice that meant the discussion was over. You have a choice. You can delay college for a year or two and contribute financially to the household while Jordan gets established. We'll all work together like a family. Or you can choose to go to college now, but you'll be doing it entirely on your own. I won't contribute anything and I won't co-sign loans. You'll figure it out yourself. You're blackmailing me, Cameron said. I'm giving you a choice, I corrected. And I'm teaching you that choices have consequences. Choose family or choose yourself, but don't expect to have both. Cameron chose college. He moved in with Richard, who was furious with me. The phone calls were ugly, full of accusations and threats about custody agreements that no longer mattered because Cameron was 18. Richard said I'd abandoned our child. He said I'd chosen a stranger over my own flesh and blood. He said things I can't repeat, things that still echo in my head at night. But Richard didn't understand. He never understood what it was like to be me, to always be the one who sacrificed and got nothing back. Cameron left for State University in August. He texted me once, asking if I was sure about this, if I really meant what I'd said. I told them I loved them, but yes, I meant it. Family loyalty mattered more than anything. He stopped responding after that. Jordan's certification courses cost more than expected. The first course led to a second, then a third. Each one was going to be the one that opened doors that made everything worth it. I paid for them all, draining my savings, picking up extra shifts at work. Jordan did finish the courses, but the jobs never quite materialized the way we'd hoped. There was always some reason. The market was saturated, the timing was bad, the interviewers didn't appreciate Jordan's unique background. Jordan started a small online business that required startup capital. I provided that too. Meanwhile, Cameron's social media posts showed up in my feed before he blocked me. Photos of them at college, smiling with new friends. Dean's List announcements, research opportunities. He were thriving without me. That should have made me happy. Instead, it felt like proof that I'd been right, he didn't need me. He'd chosen his selfish ambition and it had worked out fine. So why did I feel so empty? The breaking point came during Cameron's sophomore year. My mother, Cameron's grandmother, was having a birthday party. She'd specifically invited Cameron, who drove 3 hours from college to attend. I arrived with Jordan, expecting a family gathering. Cameron took one look at us and asked to speak to me privately. I can't do this anymore, he said. We were standing in my mother's backyard near the fence where we used to play as a child. I can't pretend everything is okay. Then don't pretend, I said, just be civil. You chose him over me, Cameron said, not angry now, just tired, so tired. You gave me an ultimatum that no parent should ever give his child. You made me prove my worth by giving up my dreams. I gave you a choice, I said. You made your decision. It wasn't a real choice, Cameron's voice cracked. It was do what I want or lose me. That's not a choice, that's abandonment with extra steps. You abandoned me, I shot back. You chose a school over your family. I chose my future, Cameron said quietly. I chose the future you and Dad spent 18 years telling me to work toward, and when I got there you moved the goalposts. Life moves goalposts, I said. That's what you need to learn. Cameron looked at me for a long moment, and I saw something in his eyes die. Some last hope, some final chance he'd been holding on to. I'm done, he said. I'm done trying to make you see what you did. I'm done hoping you'll apologize or take it back or explain it in some way that makes sense. I'm just done. So that's it, I asked. You're going to throw away our entire relationship because I didn't fund every dream you ever had? No, Cameron said. I'm ending our relationship because when I needed you most, you told me I was selfish for wanting what you'd promised me. I'm ending it because you chose a partner you'd known for months over your child of 18 years. I'm ending it because you don't think you did anything wrong, and you never will. He walked away, Back to the party, back to his grandmother and his father and the family that had actually shown up for them. I stood in that backyard, Jordan waiting by the car, and felt the full weight of my choices settle on my shoulders. But I didn't chase after Cameron. I didn't apologize, because I still believed I'd done the right thing. Didn't I? That was 3 years ago. Cameron graduates from State University next month with honours. He're going to graduate school fully funded. He're thriving. Jordan and I are still together, though things are strained. The business never took off. The certifications led to low-paying jobs that never quite covered expenses. We argue about money now. About my spending, about my priorities. Jordan says I don't support them enough. Sometimes I wonder if he's right. I wasn't invited to Cameron's graduation. I found out about it through my mother, who tried to convince Cameron to reconsider. He refused. She made her choice, Cameron told my mother. Now she gets to live with it. Everyone thinks I'm the villain. My family, my friends, even some of Jordan's friends who have heard the story. He all think I abandoned my child for a relationship. He don't understand that I was trying to teach Cameron about sacrifice, about family, about the real world where you don't always get what you want. But late at night, when Jordan is asleep and the apartment is quiet, I think about that conversation in my mother's backyard. I think about the look in Cameron's eyes when he said he were done. I think about all the moments I'm missing, graduations, achievements, maybe someday a wedding or grandchildren. I think about what I traded them for. And I wonder, in the darkest part of the night when I can't lie to myself anymore, if Cameron was right. If the ultimatum I gave them wasn't about teaching a lesson, or about family loyalty at all. Maybe it was just about me. About my hurt feelings and my exhaustion and my desperate need to matter to someone after years of feeling invisible. Maybe I sacrificed my relationship with my child not for Jordan's future, but for my own validation. Maybe the real selfish ambition was mine all along. But morning always comes, and with it the defensive walls go back up. I tell myself I was right. I tell myself Cameron is ungrateful. I tell myself that family loyalty does matter and he chose wrong. I tell myself these things because the alternative, that I destroyed the most important relationship in my life over pride and resentment, and a partner who can't quite get it together, is too devastating to accept. So I live with my choice. I live with the silence from my child. I live with the knowledge that when he walk across that graduation stage next month I won't be there to see it. I forced Cameron to choose between college and supporting my new partner. He chose college, and I chose to let them go. Everyone says I abandoned them. He're wrong, I tell myself. But some nights I'm not so sure anymore.